One is HHS Accelerate, which a number of folks have heard about. And what we've done with HHS Accelerate is we've moved 10 terabytes of contracting data from 5 different contract writing systems into a commercial cloud environment. And we've actually used a microservices architecture to rebuild the business processes of the function of acquisition off of that blockchain-based data layer. We think that it'll have a huge impact on the workforce and industry partners for 3 reasons. One, we think it'll lessen the burden on industry partners. If you're an industry partner doing business with Health and Human Services at some point in the near future, you'll no longer have to re-enter SAM.gov information. You'll no longer need a reps and search check or validation and verification. You'll have a record of any historical request for information that you submitted to the agency, and we'll automate that functionality for you to lessen the burden on you, decrease the administrative burden associated with doing business with us. If you're a program official within HHS, we've created a TurboTax type of interface off of Accelerate, where we're merging statement of work and historical contract award information. And as you answer questions, what are your goals? What are your risks? What is your timeline? What is your stakeholder engagement strategy? As it relates to the cancer research you're doing, we'll pull historical statement of work information to you so that you have the benefit of the work that was done before you, and we can enable you with that information. And if you're an acquisition professional at HHS, we're trying to create an experience much like when you go to Target. If you're in Target and you actually look up a price on Amazon or any web interface, and you find out that the product you're buying or the service you're buying is cheaper in one of those locations than it is in Target, and you show it on your phone, the cashier will give you an immediate discount. So we've created the ability to provide prices paid in terms and conditions analysis in real time to you. The second project that I think will be extremely impactful, and then I'm going to pass it over to this guy to talk a little bit about HR, is this recurrent neural network that we've built. So we've actually built the ability to provide insight that you normally couldn't have, and I'm going to walk you through it. So imagine that you need to go and determine if a bucket of 1,000 contracts are inherently governmental or not. And you need to make a business decision. Should I do them with a government employee or should I do them with a contractor employee? Well, the current way that you would do that is you'd go through and you'd read through each of those contracts with certain criteria, and you'd identify if something's inherently governmental or not. What we've built is the ability to actually use natural language processing to read 9,000 statements of work, to score those 9,000 statements of work and vectorize what we read. And what I mean by that is predictive analytics cannot analyze text. So we read the text, we create a score, we create a number system associated with each word in the text. We create a vector out of that number and we push it into a predictive model. And currently what we're saying is with an 86% accuracy, we believe that a certain grouping of contracts maybe could be performed by federal employees. And then what we did is we actually read labor categories and personnel descriptions and job descriptions. And we started to tie them together. So the private sector labor category and the job description, and we know these two kind of align, and we could perform a price analysis for professional services associated if you did it with a government employee or if you did it with a contract employee. Now what that's given us is the ability to take it a step further and actually tag labor categories from multiple companies to a PD and a job description, and now we can start to compare prices paid from a professional services perspective. We think it's going to have a huge impact on the way that we do business, because we can now, within a matter of seconds, have real-time insight on a grouping of thousands of contracts. I mentioned 9,000 statements of work. We can provide that insight to the workforce, the contracting workforce, and say, here, we're not saying we're 100% right, but go look at these contracts and let us know how good our predictive model was. And we think that's going to be super impactful.
2 years ago, a decision was made to invest significant amounts of money in upgrading our current personnel system. Coupled with that, we've now tried to look back and say, what's going to make us better? And so the way we've looked at it is fewer platforms. Heretofore, every solution had its own technology, its own ecosystem. That's just unsustainable in today's government. So we've settled on a specific platform. We turned on a new help desk in 2 months with our partner in DFAS, who's an excellent partner, and came to the table. And now we're focused on, across the department, sharing those configurations and setups. Our OIG is already launched for recruiting. We now are going to launch recruiting internally at the Office of the Secretary. And then what we're going to do in the next few months is we're moving to a complete API layer so that we can, with our trading partners, the HR data is gold. to any of our operating divisions, CDC, NIH, FDA. So we're moving to that whole API methodology, coupled with some of the new work that you're going to be doing with the new data abstraction. We really think that we don't have to rebuild a lot. We can leverage a lot of the parts and components that you've already put in place. So that's how we're looking at them.
And I think the important thing here, and what you're hearing Perryn say, is we've committed to not only leveraging cloud solutions, but to thinking strategically through how we leverage cloud solutions. And what we're doing is we're separating data from business process. And by separating data from business process and making it accessible, it gives us we can offer a ton of flexibility to our internal partners. But we can drive outcomes that actually help them achieve mission much quicker. So when Perryn talks about that API level, that's what he's saying. We're going to create an API to make this data available to you. Now, you may want to use some of the applications we're using. We'll happily partner with you on that. But we also are giving you flexibility to use something that may work better for you. And I'm making it available via this API.
Had you not gotten to accelerate first, what I would say is, our job in HR modernization is accelerate the work of others. And so by building these layers and making it possible, there are some excellent application development groups across HHS. So as they build mobile applications, especially for employee-facing things like benefit selection, time reporting, now we have a way to make that available anywhere because we have the APIs. Someone else does the development, they partner with someone else, they push it over, and now we have that application not in just one division like CDC, but now CDC is partnered with CMS, and suddenly it's in CMS, not in 6 months' time, but literally weeks.
In real time.